Hello and welcome to Mystery Machines. I'm LOI.
And I'm Elio.
Today we are diving deep into the absolutely wild mind of R. Buckminster Fuller. We're going to be guided by Amy Edmondson's fantastic book, A Fuller Explanation, and a couple of Bucky's own manifestos, Grunch of Giants and Critical Path.
So, Elio, let's start with what everyone thinks they know. Bucky, the guy who made those cool dome buildings. But what if I told you that inside those domes, he was hiding a secret, a technical blueprint for how to save the entire world? Saving the world? Elio, that's a bit much, don't you think? I mean, I always saw him as this quirky inventor dude who made some really interesting, but let's be honest, famously leaky buildings.
Oh, he was way more than just a dome guy. The man was a relentless invention machine. You've got the Dymaxion house, which was supposed to be this totally self-sufficient living pod. The Dymaxion car, that strange-looking three-wheeler. The octet truss, which is literally the basis for most modern space frame construction. 10 Segretti. I mean, the list just goes on and on. Okay. It's an impressive resume of oddities. I'll give you that. But come on, you and I both know most of them were commercial disasters. The Dymaxion car was basically a death trap. It never went into production. And the house, nobody wanted to buy something that looked like a UFO. From a business perspective, the guy was a flop.
Exactly. But that's the whole key to understanding him. You're measuring him with the wrong yardstick. Bucky said it himself. He wasn't trying to make a profit. He was trying to figure out how nature builds things, how the universe actually works, and then just copy that. All right, I'll bite. If making money was off the table, what kind of sense was he trying to make?
He was trying to make sense of, well, everything. All those inventions you just called oddities, they were just little experiments. Side projects, really. They were all just expressions of this massive, all-encompassing philosophical system he called synergetics. He genuinely believed he was rediscovering the universe's own operating manual. And the core of synergetics is this one beautiful idea: synergy. You know, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It's the idea that you can't understand a rainforest by studying a single leaf. You have to look at the patterns, the connections, the geometry that ties everything together. He called it the geometry of thinking. Okay, hold on. The geometry of thinking? Now that sounds a little woo-woo, like something you'd hear at a yoga retreat in Sedona. It's getting pretty abstract here, LOI. I know it sounds abstract, but it has incredibly real results. Look at one of his biggest discoveries, tense gritty. It's this wild idea of building with continuous tension, like a web, and then floating solid, compressed parts within it. Think about it. That's how the cosmos works. Planets floating in the tension of gravity. It's how nature builds things to be unbelievably strong, but also ridiculously lightweight.
And hey, we totally get it. Bucky was famously hard to understand. There's this great joke about his lectures, which would go on for like 8 hours. Someone comes out of the lecture hall and their friend asks, "How was it?" And the person just looks totally blissed out and says, "It was amazing. I have absolutely no idea what he said." I think I know how that person feels right now. And that's totally fair. But you have to hang in there with us, because if you can wrap your head around this systems-level thinking, you unlock his most powerful and honestly his most dangerous ideas.
Because this is where it all clicks. This is the moment Fuller stops just building things and starts applying his geometry to the biggest system he could think of, planet Earth. He was the one who coined the phrase Spaceship Earth. He wanted us to realize we're all on this tiny, fragile vehicle with a limited crew and resources that are running out fast.
Whoa. Okay, so the gloves are officially off. That is not just some cute hippie metaphor anymore. That is a direct attack on nationalism, on the entire idea of owning natural resources. He's saying our world leaders are just admirals fighting over who gets the best cabin while the ship itself is sinking. This is starting to sound a little conspiratorial.
Oh, Elio, buckle up, because it gets way more specific. He didn't just see some vague problem of a few people being greedy. No, he gave a name to the invisible force he thought was steering Spaceship Earth straight into an asteroid. He called it Grunch.
Grunch, an acronym for Gross Universe Cache Heist. Okay, Eloi, you gotta admit, that sounds like a full-blown conspiracy theory. An invisible army? This is where you lose people, right? It just sounds completely unhinged. But see, that's the trick, isn't it? He wasn't talking about a few bad guys in a smoky room. For him, Grunch was an impersonal system. These massive, faceless corporations, these abstract legal fictions, these complex financial systems that are all designed to automatically suck wealth and power upwards. And he would say that our immediate reaction to call it a conspiracy theory is the perfect camouflage that lets the whole system operate in plain sight.
So, my own skepticism is part of the problem? Fuller might say it's part of the programming, because the second you stop searching for villains and start looking at the flaws in the system's design, your whole world changes. Once you see it all as a set of competing designs, well, Elio, welcome to the global initiation.
But this is the most important part. Bucky wasn't some doomsday prophet. He didn't just point at the iceberg and say, we're all gonna die. No, he spent his entire life working on a detailed, totally apolitical plan to fix it. A way to make GRUNCH totally irrelevant without ever firing a gun. He called it the Design Science Revolution.
So he basically saw humanity standing at a crossroads. Down one path, you have weaponry. That's the old world. Politics, war, fighting over a pie that we assume is too small. It's a zero-sum game. A world of you or me. Exactly. And his alternative path was livingry. Forget politics, he said. Let's use design science. Don't fight over scarcity. Let's use technology to create abundance. And most importantly, stop trying to reform people. It's impossible. Instead, reform the environment so that people's best instincts can actually emerge. It's a total flip from you or me to you and me.
And the engine that drives this whole revolution is this amazing principle he saw everywhere in the universe. He called it ephemeralization.
I love these Bucky-isms. All right, what does this one mean?
It's simple, really. It means doing more with less. Just think about it. The smartphone in your pocket has more computing power than a computer that filled an entire room in the 1960s. One little satellite does the job of thousands of tons of copper cable that used to lie on the ocean floor. That's ephemeralization. It's technology letting us do more and more with less and less physical stuff.
Okay, so what was the ultimate goal here? What's the end game of the design science revolution, powered by doing more with less? It was simple, it was huge, and it was non-negotiable. To make the world work for 100% of humanity, not 99%, 100, and to do it as fast as possible, without harming the environment and without disadvantaging a single person. He was totally convinced it was possible, not a utopian dream, but a practical engineering reality.
So there you have it. You've got the diagnosis, grunge, this invisible system running the show. And you had the prescription, a design science revolution to make a world that works for everyone.
Exactly. And it leaves us with the same question Bucky was asking 50 years ago, a question that feels more critical now than ever. He said humanity was taking its final exam. So, are we on the right path? Is a revolution in design our only real hope? Or are we just going to keep rearranging the deck chairs on Spaceship Earth? The choice, he insisted, is up to us.